Warning! The opinions on this podcast are of the hosts and guests only, and may contain childish humor. Listen at your own discretion. And now, please adjust your headphone volumes to an unreasonable level and prepare to enjoy the most dynamic and electrifying podcast that cyberspace has encountered.
Welcome back to the show! This is episode 51 of Sports Bliss
with Rob
and Chris. It's going to be a very fun show. But before we get into it, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris. And if you are not subscribed to this podcast, do so now. Ooh, I love that sound.
Beer time.
Beer time. Beer, 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 beer.
What you drinking?
What am I not drinking?
Are you back on the Bards wagon?
I'm back on the Bards bandwagon.
You just love it so much.
Bards is my go-to. If you have any type of gluten intolerance or if you're celiac positive, just check out this beer. It won't do you wrong. It's very good.
It is good.
Just take my word on it.
I even like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But I yell at you because this is like gold to me.
I know. They run out.
I'm like, you can drink any beer you want. I can't. This is gold.
I know. It's reserved for you.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Crooked Can beer. It is
Ooh, local.
McSwaggers.
Nice.
It's very good. So if you're in the Central Florida area, check them out.
You haven't had that in a while.
I haven't. I just found one in the back of the fridge.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
There
folks.
you go, folks.
Okay, so this episode is not going to be your typical draft review show. We're going to do it with a little bit of a twist. So buckle up, folks, and get ready.
All right. So I thought we would start. Everybody reviews all their picks, but we're here in Florida. Let's talk about our teams in Florida. Let's talk about the Bucs, the Jags, and the Dolphins.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the Bucs. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Is it too early to say our next Super Bowl
A lot of people are saying that. They're saying
and
after this draft.
And the Super Bowl is in Tampa Bay this year?
I already called it.
What?
It. I know. A lot of people say they did really well in this draft.
I think so.
You know, they addressed a lot of needs in it, and they got quality players at the same time. So, you know, they got someone to protect Brady. They got some defensive help. They got some running backs, some wide receivers, some defensive help. And actually, a lot of people think this Khalil Davis, the defensive tackle, taken kind of late, that he was a steal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's out of, I think, Nebraska. And they're like, he had some off-the-field kind of issues and discipline type of issues. But they're like, he is a beast. And they're like, if they can kind of rein him in, he's going to be an impact player. One of the biggest picks for them was this offensive tackle. And I know we're not big into linemen. I can't name any of them. I'm going to be honest. But this guy, Wirfs, he's supposed to be a steal. Because a lot of people thought he was going to go to the Giants at number 4.
Oh, wow.
And he slipped all the way to, I think, number 13. The Bucs actually gave away a draft pick to trade up one spot.
Okay.
And they got him because they didn't want to lose him. But they think this is a guy that can play for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so they think they did really well. And they got some quality players here. I think overall they did very well. Tell me a little bit about your Jaguars, because they took your boy.
They took my boy. And if you know, then you know. The cornerback Henderson from Florida.
Oh, yeah, he's got some swag.
He is a beast. He's amazing. He's so athletic. He was definitely solid. He's going to make a difference in their team. I believe so.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, some people think that they reached a little bit, that he went a little early, but everybody's saying after Henderson, the cornerback position really dropped off.
Right.
Like, there was a big drop-off. So the Jags need cornerbacks.
Yes.
They need them bad. They got rid of both their starting cornerbacks from last year. And so he's going to be a starter. You watch.
Speaking of which, remind me, what position does Fournette play?
Running back.
Okay.
They kept trying to trade him, too, on draft night, and nobody's taking him. They offered him
So they're stuck with him?
He's still there. They offered him to Miami. They offered him to Tampa.
Nobody wants to take
which
him.
Everybody knows. But why? This draft was really deep in running backs and wide receivers. Why would you take Fournette? I mean...
So are they stuck with him, or can they cut him, or what can they do?
Well, if you cut him, you still have to pay money against the salary cap, so you're going to pay him not to be on the team.
So but are they really going to play him? That's the thing.
Yeah, they're going to play him, but he's trouble, so I think they're going to keep trying to move him, but we'll see.
They're keeping that open.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't blame them. They want to have a new face. They want to have not just a face. They want to have a new mentality for this team. This team last year and the years before, they're troublemakers. They talk a bunch of smack, which don't get me wrong, I like that. But you don't want to have this negative
culture going on.
You don't want that negative culture weighing over everybody, especially with Minshew now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a young quarterback, so you don't want to dampen.
Well, you've got to change the face of the team in a way, or the image of the team, because remember we talked about how the players union were basically telling players not to sign with Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Well, this is how you do it. You get rid of all the players that you can and bring in new young players. Right. And create a new culture and get them to believe in it, and then hopefully new players will come in.
Exactly.
So that's what they're trying to do, I think. But, Gene Fournette, he covers the Jags. He said that 3 of their top 4 picks, and they're all defensive, Henderson, Chasen, and Devon Hamilton, I think it was, he said they are going to be huge defensive impact players.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He said they're definitely going to be impact players. And I would add to that Shaq Quarterman out of Miami, who was taken a little later, but he dropped for some reason, and I don't know why. He's a beast. I've watched him in college.
Yeah.
And he was the first Miami player to be taken, and it was the 4th round, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'll get into that a little more later.
Okay.
Because I got some interesting things about that.
Okay.
But I think overall the Jags did pretty well. What do you think about the Dolphins? Tua, they stuck with it.
You know how I feel about Tua.
I know you don't like him, but
I don't.
You don't believe in the Tua.
I don't believe in him. I never have, never will.
But this was a very much like Bill Belichick kind of draft.
You think so?
Yeah, because Brian Flores, he's very close to him and kind of learned the Patriot way, and there's a lot of Patriot stuff there. They took a lot of guys in the middle, meaning they took either defensive linemen or offensive linemen, and I think that's a very good sign for the Dolphins, because it doesn't matter. If I saw someone complain, they didn't really take any wide receivers or any of this. Well, if you can't protect the quarterback,
yeah, that's irrelevant.
You don't need anyone to throw to.
Right.
And you're a little young for this, but when the Dallas Cowboys in the late 80s, early 90s were like the dynasty with Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin, this is exactly what they did. They drafted linemen on both sides of the ball to protect Troy Aikman. Then the next year, you know who they got? Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a beast after that, and they won 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think maybe they're on the right track with this. But out of all of these, I think one of the interesting picks is that Malcolm Perry. He was the very last guy taken in the draft. And he is the quarterback for Navy. That kid can run, and they listed him as a wide receiver, not quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to fall into that Edelman kind of role for them, like a slot guy.
Interesting.
And he's very good. He can run with the ball. He's crafty. He would run from the quarterback and run long touchdowns. So imagine if he's catching the ball as a receiver.
So is Fitzmagic still...
Yeah, he's still on the team.
On the team.
Yeah.
But they're planning to replace him with Tua.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is... So a lot of people graded this draft as a B for the Dolphins. I think...
Yeah. Well, they graded it a B+, so technically it could have been
it depends
an A.
Yeah, source you look at. But if Tua turns into the player that he could be, then this could be an A+.
I don't think
because
so.
you're taking a gamble on this guy. If he's a dud...
A huge gamble. He's going to be a bust. I already know he's a bust.
If he's a bust, then this is a C draft. You know what I'm saying? So it can it can swing either way, but I think at least they're swinging for it. I think that's not a bad pick to take Tua if you believe in him. They obviously believe in him.
But
so
why?
Well, I mean, he's a winner, but...
A wiener?
Oh, you're full of jokes today. So, I don't know, but we'll see how the Dolphins did. They took a bunch of players, we'll see, but a lot of line people, which is, I think, pretty good. They need a lot of help.
Anywhere they can get it.
Oh, totally. Totally.
So tell me about the undrafted players. Were any undrafted players were they picked up that you thought would have been picked up?
Oh, yeah. I think there were several. I mean, we were looking during the draft, and, some of my favorite players I follow from college and that.
Yeah.
But there were several Gator players taken. I think the punter signed with someone like Denver or somebody, and he was pretty good. But kickers usually aren't taken very much.
Right, right.
But really, one of the ones that was really surprising was Thaddeus Moss from LSU, Randy Moss's son.
Yes.
Plays tight end. He came out early.
I was shocked that he was not picked up at all.
Yeah, and the Redskins,
or I would
signed
say
him right away.
In the draft, obviously.
Yeah, because the guy's a beast. He's pretty fast. And remember that catch he made in either the finals or it was the semifinals where he was
almost out of bounds, but he had his two toes ballerina style inside when he caught it.
Yeah. He looked like his dad.
Unbelievable.
He looked like his dad there. So I don't know. I couldn't believe that he slipped all the way through the draft. But, one of my favorite players, you know who he is. Adrian Killens.
Oh, yeah.
From UCF.
I was going to say Gabe Davis, but he got picked early.
Fourth round.
Okay.
And he got in a really good situation, by the way. He went to the Buffalo Bills. They don't have any wide receivers, really. I mean, they traded for Stephon Diggs, but he very well could be a starter. He's going to grind. That dude is a hard worker.
That's amazing.
He's a very hard worker.
UCF represent.
Yeah, he's going to be good. And you know who he's been training with? He's been training with Brandon Marshall. I don't know if you remember him, the wide receiver that was in the league forever.
Yeah.
Well, he was from UCF way back.
Okay.
He played in the NFL for a long time and was like an all-pro. He played with a lot of teams. He played with the Jets was, I think, the most recent, but he's now retired. But he's been training with him this whole last year, and so he knows how to prepare. And everyone at UCF says he's the hardest working person that's ever been there. And there have been some hard-working people.
Oh, that makes me so proud.
Yeah, so we'll see how he does.
I feel like a proud mama.
But anyway, Adrian Killens, he slipped. And I think it's really because he didn't have a pro D. They didn't have a pro day at UCF, so no one could see him. He's the fastest person in college. And he wasn't invited to the combine for some reason. But he was signed right after the draft. And he said his agent had 12 teams coming for him.
Wow.
Yeah, and he decided to sign with the Eagles. Because they want to use him as, guess what? Exactly what I said earlier in the year. They're going to use him as a slot receiver.
Wow.
In the East-West Shrine game, one of the Senior Bowl games, he led everyone in that game with 7 receptions for 91 yards. He's going to be a beast. He'll make this team.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The other guy I think that's very interesting is Nate Evans. He was on UCF also. He signed with the Jags. Right. He's a linebacker.
Yeah.
He was in the top 10 in the nation for solo tackles as a senior. And he didn't get drafted. And they think, again, because he wasn't at pro day.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's kind of in between. He's a little bit smaller, and he's not super fast.
Okay.
But they're saying, basically, I don't know if you remember him, he was on the Jags, Miles Jack. He was on the Jags, and he was kind of the same build, same kind of thing. They're thinking he can be that type of player. And he was projected to be a first-round, this Miles Jack. He ended up being a fourth-rounder and played for the Jags for a while, and then they traded him. We'll see. Nate Evans is a beast, too. So we'll see how he comes out and plays. Hopefully he can make the team.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to the importance of these undrafted guys in a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'm going to give you some numbers that will shock you.
Okay.
Okay. So first off, let's go into a little bit about the draft itself. Some of the numbers from this year.
Okay.
Of course, LSU set the record for players.
Right.
They tied it from 2004.
Absolutely.
They had 14 players drafted.
That's crazy.
And I think I saw something crazy that none of them were drafted after the 4th round.
That's insane.
Yeah. So they were all pretty high draft
and
picks.
that's breaking records.
Yeah, I think the last team to have that many was Ohio State in 2004.
Wow.
So if you have 10 plus guys in a draft, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's like Alabama and Clemson pretty much every year. But
Right.
that was a big thing. But here was a really interesting one. Miami did not have a selection until the 4th round. And that meant that FSU, UF, UCF, FIU, and FAU all had players drafted before Miami.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, but Miami was not good.
But that's a big problem
That
for
is.
Miami. They used to be, NFLU,
Yeah.
right? That's what everybody thought of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a big problem.
Well, they need to fix something, whatever it is going down there.
Yeah. So here's the breakdown. I just looked at a breakdown from this year by conferences. So who do you think led?
The SEC, for sure.
Of course. They had 63 players drafted.
Wow.
And there's a total of 255.
Is that normal? Is that about how it usually is? Or was it abnormally high this year?
No, that's about the number that they have drafted usually.
Okay.
And they have led the way for like the last 13 or 14 years, by the way.
Of course.
So that's the reason they win so many championships. So who do you think came in second?
Oh gosh. Probably the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, because they have what? Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, all those kind of blue bloods of college.
Yeah.
And that's kind of recognized as the second best conference. So they have 48. The third conference, which was a little surprising to me, was the Pac-12. You know, like the West Coast with Oregon and UCLA, all that. They had 32. The ACC, which shows they're really like slipping. They came in fourth at 27. Now the Big 12 had 21. That's with like Oklahoma and Texas, and followed by the American, who had 17. It's not so bad. And then the next...
Is that typical for your...
It's been growing over the last several years. Yes, it's been getting around 15, 16 or so a year. And then it dropped down to 10 with Conference USA and Mountain West. So it really dropped down, and then there's some other things, Division III, and the MAC had 2.
Okay.
So the Power 5 had 191 picks, and the Group of 5 had 65, which is, I looked back, I was thinking, well, is that typical? Because I was thinking, well, maybe because they didn't have all these pro days and all this kind of stuff, maybe that skewed some of the picks, right?
Right.
Because you kind of go with more traditional schools, because you can't interview the kids or that. You can just talk to them on the phone, but you can't have them work out.
Right.
And it kind of worked out to be pretty much the same. It actually, it was exactly the same as last year's draft. It was 191 both years.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That's really weird.
And so out of the Group of 5, though, that's not the Power 5, the AAC had 27% of all the picks. Of all the Division III, everybody that was left. They had 27%. So they're kind of separating from that Group of 5.
I can see that.
Moving up into the Power
5.
Conference. And that's the reason they've been saying they're Power 6. You know, like the old days.
They're moving in that direction.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another episode, but their win percentage and everything is getting up there. They were actually rated as the third best conference this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
By a lot of...
I have seen a lot of more potential, and I have seen a lot of,
Well, they're starting to spend more on their coaches, and if you can keep your coaches, that's one of the big problems. They always lose their coaches.
Right.
So then kids transfer. They don't want to really go there. They want consistency. So the schools are finally starting to pay the coaches some money so they'll stick around. And not just the head coach, but like the defensive coordinators. Like UCF is the first one to pay. I think Randy Shannon now makes almost $1 million a year as the defensive coordinator, and that's unheard of in Group of 5. But that's how you keep getting kids to come there. So it's really important. So I just thought those are some interesting numbers about this year's draft. But then I started thinking, well, does it really matter where you're drafted? Because I've always heard, you need to be drafted in the top 3 rounds, you know? Mm-hmm. And what are the numbers to these?
But doesn't it affect your contract? Like, you're guaranteed in the first couple rounds, right?
Yeah, usually the first round.
The first round, you're guaranteed.
And you can get some guaranteed money, and the others, even the undrafted guys, get some guaranteed money. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, because I learned about that. I didn't even know.
Because I thought if you were undrafted, they can pick you, but you still have to try out for the team. Like, that doesn't mean you're going to necessarily make the team. Yeah,
but I'll tell you how it works. So the contract's almost just... Well, I'll go ahead and jump into it. In an undrafted player, for instance, Neville Clark from UCF, he's a cornerback. And a lot of people thought he would be like a 5th rounder to 7th rounder. And he ended up going undrafted. Well, like right as even before the draft ended, they were calling him teams. And the Minnesota Vikings signed him.
Oh, wow.
They signed into a 3-year deal, and it's $100,000 a year, but he got like $15,000 like guaranteed.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know the whole deal. He got $100,000 guaranteed on this 3-year deal. So he's going to get $100,000 no matter what, and $15,000 bonus straight off the top because other teams wanted him.
Right.
You know?
So they had to be aggressive to sign him.
Oh, yeah. And that means that they want him on the team if they're spending that money.
Right.
That they think he's going to make the team.
So it just depends on the player.
Yeah.
Right?
It depends on the player. They negotiate.
Whether...
Yeah, they negotiate. They negotiate. And I didn't see what Killens got, and I didn't see what Nate Evans got, but they got something.
Yeah.
And they'll get something. But they technically sign, I think, a 3-year contract, but like they can be cut, and they only owe them the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So here's the percentage of starts and where they were drafted. So if you're a first-round pick, how many do you think become starters within the first couple of years?
Oh, if you're in the first round?
Yeah.
What's the percentage?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would say like almost everybody in the first round.
No, but stay starters after 3 years.
75%?
29%.
Oh, I was on the way end
Okay.
of the spectrum.
The second round, I'll just give you the numbers. Second round is 17.5%.
Okay.
The third round is 12.6%. So out of that makes up almost 60% of the people that start those first 3 rounds, if you add them together. Okay?
Okay.
Then in the fourth round, it drops to 10%, then 6% in the fifth, 5% in the sixth, 4% in the seventh. So that's another 26% right there. Okay?
Okay.
So undrafted makes up almost 14% of starters.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's the reason I wanted to look at these numbers. Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting. And it really makes me think twice about it, you know?
But I have more numbers for this, okay?
Okay.
So then they looked at the percentage of players that are all pro after their third year and where they're drafted. Okay?
Okay.
Again, in the first round, 48% of people that were all pros were drafted in the first round by their third year.
Okay.
Okay? 14% in the second round, 8% in the third, 7, 5, 3, and 1. Undrafted, almost 11%.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they looked at the percentage of games by round that players started in a 5-year span. So 80 games, right? If you're a first-round draft pick, overall, if you were drafted, it was only 15% if you look at everybody. Okay, so in a draft class, because they may be replaced, like, right? Because
Right.
the average career of an NFL player is 3 years approximately.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the first round, it's almost 68%. Second round was 33. Third round was 36% of people, or 36% of third round draft picks started their game. You know, they started 36% of these 80 games.
Okay.
Once you go to the fourth round, it drops to 6.
Wow.
And then 4, and it just went down to 0 in the seventh round. Like they don't really even start games. 0% of 80 games. So they hardly ever started. Doesn't mean they can't come off the bench or whatever,
Right,
but
right.
you know, isn't that fascinating?
That's crazy.
So when I was looking at this, because I've always heard this before too, that if you're not drafted in the first 3 rounds and these numbers show it, you don't want to be drafted.
Right.
And the reason why is because you can choose the team you want to go to. Like Adrian Killings was talking about, he had 12 teams trying to sign him.
That's almost better than being forced to go to a team,
Yeah,
like drafted to a team.
Yeah, because you get to choose where you want to go.
Yeah.
So he went to a team that didn't draft any running backs.
So he knows he will have.
Yeah, and he has the team trying to recruit him, right?
Right,
They're
right.
trying to get him to sign with them. And they're telling him, oh, we're going to use you as a slot receiver. We're going to use you out of the backfield. We're going to use you on special teams to return kicks. We're going to use you as a gunner on punts because you're so fast.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, they've got a clear plan of what they want to do with me. Other teams are like, we just like the way you play, basically.
Yeah, they haven't really got past that.
Yeah, because the Jags wanted to sign him, the Bucs wanted to sign him, the Dolphins wanted to sign him. And so him and his agent decided the best thing was to go to the Eagles.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty fascinating. With his numbers, he's better to be undrafted because he can choose a situation that's good for him.
Yeah.
As opposed to going somewhere where they already have a bunch of receivers or running backs.
It's so funny because they make it seem like not being drafted is the worst thing
No,
that could
it's-
ever happen to a player.
No, it's if you're not drafted by the third round,
Wow.
really. And I had heard that, but I'd never seen the numbers, so I kind of looked them up, and that's what I came up with. Isn't that pretty
That's
fascinating?
crazy. Yeah.
So how's that? I mean, what do you think about all that?
It's a lot to process. It's a lot to
Isn't
take
it?
in. But also, I understand, like, it's almost better not to be drafted because if all of those teams are coming at you and they all want you, you have all of the cards. You are basically in control.
Oh, yeah.
and have them fight over you.
Yeah, and you can pick a situation that's good for you, that you have a better chance to actually make the team.
Right.
And then grow.
Exactly.
That's all you need is a chance to get in there, right?
Yes. It's trivia time! And I wanted to keep it The Office themed.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Okay.
So, it is a multiple choice question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's the ratio of Stanley Nichols to Schrute Bucs?
Oh, my goodness.
Is it A, ponies to zebras? B, unicorns to leprechauns? C, Santa Claus to the Tooth Fairy? Or D, rainbows to unicorns?
You're speaking foreign language to me right now. Oh, my goodness.
Come on, how many times have we seen this episode?
I know, but I don't remember it. I want to say it's the one with the leprechaun.
Okay, so you think it's unicorns to leprechauns?
Yeah, sure.
Final answer.
Yes.
You got it right!
Oh, I win again!
You actually do pay attention. You actually do pay attention to the
sometimes.
show. Okay, and let's end on that note with a would you rather.
Okay.
Would you rather listen to Smells Like Teen Spirit for 4 hours straight or go to a K-pop, rap, or pop concert?
What do you mean by pop?
Like any other, like a concert. Like a pop concert, like Ariana Grande. Any type of rap.
I can't
Drake.
choose it. I just got to go to something.
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
K-pop, black, pink.
Yeah.
Okay, mind you, how long is a concert really?
It's only
like 2
hours.
maybe?
I think I would go to a concert. Because at least it would, even if I didn't like it, at least it would be something different than the same song.
I got this off Reddit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, there was a handful of people that said that they would listen to the Nirvana song. But everybody was saying they'd rather go to a concert because that, for 4 hours straight, how long is the song? Like
2 minutes?
4 minutes? 3
Not
minutes?
even. Like, it's less than 3.
Okay.
It's gotta be.
So how many times can you listen to it in an hour? Quick
like
math.
20.
Okay, and then 4 hours. That'd be like
like a billion
that'd be like
times.
800 times.
No, it'd be like 80 times.
I just have a feeling I would hate that song after.
Well, it's not just that. It's just the same thing over and over. I mean, I can love a song, but I don't want to listen to it. I'm not even a person that listens to songs on repeat. You do that,
I do.
but I don't.
I will play a song out.
I'll listen to albums over and over again,
Oh,
but not
same.
not the same song.
But okay, when I listen to the same song, it's always like if I'm driving, it's in my car. And like how often or how long do I drive?
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
30
exactly.
minutes, yeah.
So it's like every time I get in my car, I'm listening to the same song, but it's not like consistently.
But I also like a lot of different music. So it's like I can appreciate any band even if I don't like their music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I think going to just some random concert would be better for me.
I think it's just the entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, and just like
plus you can get beer at a concert. I mean,
yeah, whatever. Okay, so I would go with that as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the flippity flop. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris. Available on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts are found. Follow us on Instagram and leave voice comments at 407-494-6420. This has been a Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris production.